Welcome to Live Into Your Best Life, a show where people learn how to go from where they are to where they'd like to be in any area of life. If you're looking for a new job, wanting to improve your relationships, or even reclaim your health, Paulie will share with you a simple formula that can take you on a journey to begin to live into your best life in all areas of life. Now sit back and begin your journey.
Hi there, and welcome to Live Into Your Best Life. I'm Paulie, your show's host, and today I'd like to talk about the power of saying no. Each of these shows that I've recorded, especially the ones that I've done that are just me talking, I'm giving you insights and tidbits into what I've had to learn in my own life and opportunities for improvement and growth that I've made and that I continue to make. And so one of the topics that come up when I'm working with my clients is the same as what I've had to go through. There's too much work. People are coming at me from all directions. How do I say no? I can't say no. If I say no, they're not going to like me. If I say no, I'm not going to be included in the next whatever it is. So we have this angst around the word no. We have this feeling that if we tell people no, there's all these outcomes that could happen. How often will they? But in your past, you probably had a situation that is triggering this feeling around the word no. Having said that, I'd like to shift how you look at this situation. I used to say yes to everything because I enjoyed all the experiences. I enjoyed having fun. I enjoyed the variety of things I got to do. I loved helping all the people I helped when I was working with these different nonprofits. And I really enjoy continuously learning, continuous improvement, and my personal growth. With that in mind, there was one day I was part of a nonprofit organization. I'd been the president the year before. I'd been in the organization. I was actually one of the founding members. And I'd been in the organization for probably 5 or 6 years by that point. The previous year, when I was the president, we had accomplished amazing results. And we won every award that was available except one. And that's because we didn't qualify. So really amazing teamwork and collaboration, and it was so much fun. And a lot of people had fond memories for what we did. Fast forward, I walked into a meeting where the new leadership was doing their planning. As the past president, I sat on that board to offer guidance. I was a little late getting to the meeting, and there was a sign on the door, "Just walk in." So I did. To hear people talking about the budget. And one person made the comment, "We don't need to have a budget for our social events because Paulie just pays for them all. So we'll let her cover the costs. That way we can put that money into other things." And I thought to myself, wow, I had not realized, so unbeknownst to me, or I hadn't paid attention, I just did what I loved from the bottom of my heart, but now it was being expected. And in that moment, I realized this isn't any fun. To be expected to do something that I thought was a gift, now I'm not willing to go there. That's inappropriate. And if I'm no longer part of the organization, if I choose to quit, where's your budget then? So I had a conversation with them. As soon as I walked in the room, it was very difficult. I didn't want them to think I was eavesdropping, yet they were so focused, they didn't hear me come in. They didn't hear the door close. They didn't hear me take my shoes off. And so I thought, I'm just going to walk in and say, as I was coming across the house, I heard this. Help me understand what you're thinking. And all of a sudden, everybody got flustered. Now, that was interesting because they were trying to do something that in their minds seemed logical, but when asked the question so that they could explain their logic, they didn't want to. Now, if that happens, that means that they're trying to do something they know is inappropriate and they're just trying to get away with it. And I've found that same response is consistent when someone's saying or doing something that they know is wrong. And you actually just ask a simple question like, can you explain to me what you're thinking? What your thoughts were when you came up with that idea? Can you just explain to me? All of a sudden, it puts them in the seat of needing to justify actions that probably are inappropriate. And then things will change. So ultimately, I did tell them, no, I am not funding the activities this year. And no, I am not going to chair any. That way, I didn't have to spend hundreds of dollars each event. Again, I had no problem doing it when it was my choice. But you're not going to build your budget based on my income and my money. That was wrong. So that was a nonprofit. That was a giving situation. And we stopped the giving. It didn't take long and I left the organization because I started to see more and more of those behaviors, which is, it leads to a point that we've talked about before, where when you start to identify behaviors in the people that you're spending time with, and it is at odds with how you want your life to be, it's okay to remove that from your life. It's like your frequency has changed from the frequency of the people or group that you were hanging out with before. It's like you've changed your radio station and now you can no longer hear what they're listening to. So that's what happened. I moved on. It was perfect. Now, fast forward to a work situation where I have a lot of teams, like most of them, who are overburdened with work, yet they're unable to say, no, I can't get to that. Why? If you peel back the layers and the years and years of building a I can do this, yes, I can culture, what's happened is in the past, someone said no to someone and they got in trouble. They were reprimanded. They got dinged on their review because they weren't a team player. Being a team player does not mean saying yes to everything. When an organization wants to get a handle on what work there is, it's imperative that the people doing the work are honest about how much they can do. If you continue to try to take on and do more work than is physically possible, multiple things happen. You're going to burn out, not good. You're going to under-deliver. Yeah, I can get that done, and then you don't. That's under-delivering. And people aren't going to trust you, but you said you could, and third time in a row, you haven't. I'm going to find someone else who can help me. Not your intent yet. By saying yes to everything and only accomplishing some of what you commit to, you're letting people down and you're wearing yourself out. That's a recipe for disaster. So instead, you may want to ask questions. So some of the questions you could ask is when someone comes to you with something unexpected and you're already focused on something else, ask them, when does this really need to be done? I need it tomorrow. When are you going to use it? In a week. But if I have it tomorrow, then I know it's done. Okay, but when do you really need it done? In 5 days? I can do it in 5 days. If you need it tomorrow, you're going to need to find someone else. Oh, 5 days will be fine. Okay. So by giving people an option, you haven't told them no. You've allowed them to understand what you can do for them, and they get to make a choice. If someone has come to you asking you specifically to help with something, That's because they want your help. I was told years ago, I helped start 10 nonprofits in a couple of years where I used to live. And I built a charter school. And I was told by someone in the community, everybody wants you on their team because they know when you're there, things are going to get done. I had to learn the art of being able to say no or not yet, because I went through being pulled in so many directions, having way too much context switching, and just getting exhausted and not doing well at anything. Now, my personal checklist, I did a few things. I would ask myself, is this something I really want to be involved in? Is this something I really want to do? Is this something that fills me up and gives me emotional fulfillment and brings happiness and joy? Are these people I want to be working with? Is this a focus that I want to be part of? All right. So figuring out, how does it align with your values? First and foremost. Then ask yourself, do I have time for this? Can I commit what it's going to take to be able to achieve what's needed? Because if you commit to something and then you do it halfway, you're going to let a lot of people down. So allow yourself to be honest with yourself. And do you have the time to commit? Now, if it's something you really want to do, but you don't have time because of everything else you have going on, okay. What if something else can become a lower priority and happen later so that you can do this thing you really want to do? That works too. You can figure out, how does it fit into your value system? How important is it really to you? If you're working with other people, someone comes and asks you to do something, you can also figure out how important is it to them. Because in the previous scenario, when you said, okay, so if I deliver it in this time, if they want it sooner and they're okay with someone else, they will tell you that. But if they really want you, they're going to allow it to fit into your schedule the way it works for you. That's a telltale sign that they want you. They're willing to accommodate you. And that's good, because you need to be in charge of doing what's right for you in your life. Sometimes there are things that you have to just drop everything and take care of. Those emergencies happen. But life isn't filled with 24/7 emergencies for most of us. Certain occupations may experience a lot more emergency than others, but for the most part, we don't have that burden. We do have the flexibility to pick and choose. And it's important to stay consistent and commit to and complete those activities you say yes to. You can also use a tactic I've used where people will come to me and say, hey, Paulie, we need you to help us with this thing, or we want you to chair this event. And I would say, let me look at my calendar and get back to you. No, we got to know now. We have to know today. And if I would have said, let me get back to you tomorrow, we got to know today. Okay, this is an annual event that comes up every year. Why do you have to know today? What is going to happen between today and tomorrow that means you have to know? We're afraid you might say no. And if you say yes now, we know you will. Okay, but what if I say yes tomorrow? Is that soon enough? Okay, here's the deal. If you want me to say if I will or won't, and you won't give me until tomorrow, the answer is no. Every time I did that, every time I allowed that buffer for me to think about it, feel into it, and analyze, how does this fit into my scope, what I want to do and how I want to be living. Every time I said, if you have to know right now, the answer is no. They would say, okay, no, tomorrow's good. Let us know tomorrow. Because they wanted me to say yes. These are just a few little ideas for how to learn to say no or not yet, and allow the other person to actually make the decision to let you have your way. Until next time, Continue taking baby steps towards living into your best life. If you've enjoyed this show, please share and subscribe. A new show is released each week, and I want to make sure you get them all. And if you share with your friends, we're spreading the love and helping even more people live into their best life. Until next week, enjoy the adventure. This is Paulie Skaya, living into my best life.
Thank you for listening to Paulie Skaya, your show host for Live Into Your Best Life. Check out the show notes and visit her at paulieskaya.com to learn more and continue your journey. Until next week, enjoy the adventure.